Welcome back to Supercoach Masters with Jordy, and I'm also here with Matt Zeebs.
And I am Matt Zeebs. Alongside him is with Jordy. Jordy.
Matty, did you know that Matthew Owies is over 313,000?
Does he play for the NBL?
No, he's a Supercoach.
He's a Supercoach player for St Kilda?
No, it's Carlton.
Oh wow, I didn't know.
We're going to talk about some rucks though. We're going to talk about some tap outs.
Sure, that's holding the man. That's dropping the arm. Dropping the arm. Free kick every day of the week.
All
right, let's talk about some rucks. All right.
First to 12th.
First to 12th. Jaws.
12th to first.
Let's shout out to our boys from Serious Supercoaches. We haven't done that for a while, but boys.
Mark and the boys down there.
We like his.
And David and all the good ones.
All the good ones. Jaws, these rucks.
These rucks.
We did a video, a couple of...
Guys, I strongly recommend that they go...
It's an hour, it's a gruel.
I love it. I actually, again, Matty, last night, I made some popcorn, and I go, fuck, I'm not sure about the rucks, so I'm going to go sit down and just watch us talk about rucks. And it is the funniest fucking ruck video going on, and we've had so much good feedback about it. So if you haven't seen it, check it out. But this one's going to be a bit different. Why? Because we're going to be ranking them from 12th to 1st, solving a lot of problems. Probably going to get a lot of disagreements, and that's fine, but fuck you. So... but our community is smart, and I've seen a lot of good teams that have been sent to us.
Let's kick it off, Jaws. Number 12.
Number 12. Number 12. I'm going to tell you about number 12 because he's someone...
Oh, let me tell you. Number 12 for me is good old Lloyd Meek, Hawthorn player. I like him. I like him a lot, and I think he's going to have a really good year and a big year, but not big enough to be in the top 5, but big enough to maybe make some dollars and big enough to get some hit-outs and make a name for himself for next year.
Lloyd Meek's not in my top 12, but my number 12 is someone big, dumb, stinking, ugly, and you like his Willie. It's Nan Curvis.
I don't like Nank's Willie.
Got Nan Curvis' Willie. Yeah.
Stop talking about
Nank at 12th. I don't think he's close to a serious contender in selection. That's why he's at 12.
I think he's 95. Well, he averaged 95. I think he can do some things extra with the extra 2 premium midfielders that he's got.
An extra game longer this season, and he's only ever played 1 full season, which was last year. So, on to the next one.
He played a full season last year.
Yep, and that was his first one, Matty.
And he's ready for another one. All right, George, my number 11 is good old, big old Oscar McInerney.
You're a fucking idiot.
Why? Is he in your top anything?
No.
Why are you laughing at me? Oscar, he does...
I'm not laughing at you, I'm smiling at you because you're an idiot.
Why? If you didn't see that ruck video, there's a reason why.
You wouldn't let me even speak any stats about Oscar McInerney in the ruck video because he thought it was that laughable.
Oh, he's in 1% of teams, Chad. That's the laughing stock.
You know, that's actually more than Riley West because Riley West is in 0% of teams.
That's pretty funny. So Oscar McInerney, look, there's only 2 positions to pick out of here, so clearly we're going to be going through... It's the only thing we talk about Oscar McInerney. We've got to do ceiling isn't high enough. We've got to defend ourselves. Look, there's only 2 ruckmen, 3, you know... that
fucking Oscar and Neil are probably watching this up in Brisbane, and they're just... you can't insult people like this,
I'm not
Matty.
insulting him.
You're just laughing.
You're laughing. His ceiling's not big enough. I reckon it's around 90 odd, and that will be given. So that's his average this year at number 11. George, who's your number 11?
I got Scott Lysett. Who is Scott Lysett? He's the number 1 ruckman at Polo. Is what we thought. Teakle coming in, obviously shaking things up a bit. Hasn't played a full season. Lysett hasn't averaged over 100 once. A bit shaky with the stat Lysett selection. Got him at number 11, Matt Zeebs.
George, he would have been my number 13 right ahead of Meek, but I actually think that he's not there on purpose. License not even
really?
There for me. No.
And you said you weren't worried about Teakle when I brought up the Teakle thing.
Well, that's when I actually did my own investigations. So I don't take everything. Sometimes you got to do your own. And yeah, it's good that Jordy says some things because it makes me think. It makes me think, oh, should I look at him? Let's have a see what Jordy's talking about. Jordy's right. He's an idiot. No, but Scott Lysett, he's only averaged 101 once in his life. He should be up there. He is good value for pick as far as Supercoach, but as far as averaging, he might get your step value. It is risk, but it's not so much a risk that you can't afford to take given the price. So for me, number 10, George, is my Nank. And Nank, I don't like touching his willy, so stop saying that. It's very disrespectful.
Okay.
He might be watching, and he's like,
he's probably flattered.
He's probably flattered. Anyway.
He's probably the first person on a Supercoach podcast that wants to touch
Maybe,
him.
all right. Okay, well, look, Nank, I think he's very consistent. I think, like Jordy said, or tried not to say against him, he's played 22 games, 96 average. He's in 1% of teams. He's undervalued. He's a sole ruckman.
He's not undervalued. He's valued it correctly.
Sorry, he's... I said this again, didn't I? Not undervalued. He's underrated. Underrated.
Rated fairly.
Now he's got a couple of more boys for the mid-brigade. I think he's going to be... I think they'll work. I think he'll probably just say, hey, look, I'll take me under your wing, Taranto, and, you know, we'll make sure you look for me when I, you know.
Yeah, I'm sure they're saying
Look,
that.
he's still number 10, all right? So it's not like we're going into top 5 territory.
Okay.
Number 10. George, who's your number 10?
Darcy Cameron. Darcy Cameron goes sliding down now. That big cox of Mason is in there.
What is it with you and Willies today, Jordy?
Anyway. Matty, his name is Cox. Give me a fucking spell. Now, Big Cox is going to be in the... If he's taking CBAs from Darcy Cameron, it could be trouble. And
making it double this time?
460k though, he'll probably be a better selection. But as per average, I think he's 10th highest average in Supercoach, in the rucks.
Yeah, fair enough. My number 9, George, is that good old Scottish or Irish Riley O'Brien.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So Riley O'Brien, he was actually top 5. So he actually 101, got dropped a couple of times in 2% of teams. I think it could go soaring up a little bit. He doesn't have that good buy. Good point of difference, but I don't know. I don't rate him above the rest of my top this year.
Okay.
George, yours?
I've got Nick Natamui, a 33-year-old turning. He is my number 9. I think he's still got great ability to score, and he's still a really underrated pick. And as we mentioned in the previous video, he's not as injury prone as we once thought. I think he's 9th on the board. Still got 8 ahead of him, Matt Zeebs.
Darcy Cameron is my number 8.
Darcy Cameron's your number 8?
Yeah, Darcy Cameron number 8. Like Jordy said, he's with big old Cox.
Big old Cox.
Big old Cox, but look, the risk is worth, because, you know, we don't even know, sometimes Cox might not even be the Twist 22. He didn't play 22 games last year, and it's not just because of injury, but now they've got McStay, so I'm hopeful that Cameron will be, 70% game time with a McStay maybe floating into the ruck when Cam needs a spell. Mm-hmm. But Mason Cox, he has not played a full season at all for Collingwood. I think his biggest games were 12 games. So if Darcy Cameron can play the first half of the season without him...
Oh, beauty. Beautiful. You're laughing.
But I don't mind Darcy Cameron. So, yeah, it's scary that if Mason Cox is in the team, but Mason Cox doesn't play as much football.
But he played in the last half when Grundy went down, which is the concerning thing. So he went in when Grundy went out. I mean, there's a bit of a transition period with Aiden Begg, which I'm a big fan of, because that's, Darcy Cameron every day of the week. Mm-hmm.
But maybe McStay can be that big as far as being...
He's in...
Who knows? We don't know. We don't even know. Have you seen Mason Cox play some ruck duties in the previous seasons?
Yes.
And was he killing it?
No.
Exactly.
But, when Nick Dacos kicked that goal, it was Cox that was the tapping it. So,
there you go.
Number 8. Blitzarves.
That's my number 7, George, so let's talk about that.
Okay, so Blitzarves, obviously, I rate him because he's just so durable. I think there was some stat where his first season he played 19 games and he didn't play anything less except for 17 in the COVID. And, so he's always around averaging 20 games per season is what you want. He averaged 116 in the last 5 games, and a lot of that was in finals, or it doesn't count to his average. So he's not a bad price, and he has the best buy.
He does.
Number 8 and number 7 for you, respectively.
I like him.
Anything else to add on that?
George, you keep going for your number 7 then.
Number 7 is Rob.
Riley O'Brien.
Last 4 years hasn't averaged under 95. He's got good potential. I think he's got good scoring potential. Obviously, we mentioned last time, anyone who's prone of getting dropped is a bit of a stay clear of, but I still think he has what it takes to be the 7th highest average ruckman. Matty?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I spoke about Riley O'Brien earlier. So my number 6, George, is good old balding Maxi Gold.
6 is gone?
6 is gone.
I got 6 gone too.
There you go, George. Well, we all know why. He's going to be spending a lot of time in the forward line, and if you look at it seems like videos ago that we spoke about this ruck masterclass, but it's just big old Gorn. He's just going to be in the forward line. He's going to be pitch hitting, I reckon, maybe 30 or 35% at best.
Absolutely.
He can kick some goals. He can do well. So I can see him beating all the rest we've just mentioned.
Look, if he was the top 4, I wouldn't be surprised, because he can take a contested mark so well, and even in the defence, he takes contested marks really well. So I really I really don't mind Gawn. If he was the same price as all the other ones, I'd probably be, picking him.
Definitely. All we can hope is Brody going to go down in the pre-season.
Or Gawn.
Who's your other?
Maybe Gawn, so I got more money to play with.
Sounds good to me.
What's
our number 5?
I got Witsy.
You got Witsy. I got English.
Wow.
Tell me why.
Because I think that Wits will not average what he did last year. He's a good ruckman because he's his first average over 100 that he scored was
not just
last
100.
year.
He averaged 110.
Yeah, but he only averaged over 100 once. And that was last year, and that's not enough data for me to comfortably put him in the top 2 or 3. So he's 5th for me.
He is growing every day by 1% of ownership.
13% is not that much.
No, it's not, but you watch it be 20% soon.
I hope so.
I hope so too. English number 5 for me. Oh, look, he's in 22% of teams. I don't like the buy for him.
It's the last buy. It's not too bad.
You need to have a few players. Like, we don't want to get all premiums in the last buy because you know that they're all going to get. You need to kind of have a nice balance of players not to get in the last buy. You know what I mean? Because if you have all the Bonts and the McRaes and the Englishes and, all the others in the last buy, I think Rosés and Butters. And it's good that you're going to get through the first 3 buys, but then you've got to have a bunch of players that aren't going to play, and you're literally going to be super. Anyway, that's not the reason why I don't like English. It's not that I don't like him.
I like the buy.
I don't like the buy. I think he just falls down very easily. Like, he's like that, brother that just.
He's pretty young still, so he's growing.
Yeah, still pretty young, still pretty fragile.
He's had more years over 100 than Wits.
That's okay.
And he's been in the system about 6 years.
And that's fine. And now, if you haven't looked, there's an article today regarding how stocked, because the Doggies' problem was they didn't have any tools. Now they've just got so many.
Yeah, and they'll be used as forwards.
Well, you got Rory Lobb, Timmy English, you got Gardner, you've got Bruce.
Gardner ain't going to be doing ruck here.
Even Bont's 194 centimetres tall. They literally had a list of about 10 to 12 people that were.
So who's new? The only person new you mentioned was Lobb.
I'm just saying. Well, no, it's not that they're Lobb. It's that people have come back. People have come back from. Do you really want me to read this out?
I'm just trying to see where you're coming from because at the moment you're saying they got all these tall players. Their problem was they didn't have tall players. They got.
No, they
got Lobb.
Okay, Liam Jones as well is another tall in the back.
He's even played a pre-season game. He's in defender.
Sean Dart. Yeah,
how does this affect him English?
I'm just saying the tall people. It's not that they're going to affect him English. It's like there is a lot of tall players. If, don't worry, Tim, I got this one. And Liam Jones puts his hand up, or
I don't think Liam Jones will be putting his hand up.
Oh, look, someone will, Gardner, whoever.
Gardner's a defender. He's not going to be putting his hand up for ruck contest. This is ludicrous.
They've just got a lot of tools. And look, it's not ludicrous.
It is.
You're just disagreeing with me because I just don't think that he's still top 5. I'm not saying that he's a bad pick, but I think there's a couple more that will average more than him.
Maybe, but I don't believe for them reasons.
That's fine.
Number 4, Darcy. Sean Darcy.
Yeah, me too.
Darcy's got a huge capability. Obviously, 2 years ago, he's got the 118. Meek is out. I like that better because I don't think Jackson is going to be getting a huge amount of ruck contests. I know there was a couple of people, Matthew Dick said that their plan was to sub him off, with the new sub rule and stuff like that. I think that, there's still an injury happens on average about every second game or every game and a half. So it mostly will be, I like Darcy. He's a fair price. He's about 40 or 50K cheaper than what he usually is. I remember one year it was like 630 and he's more expensive than Gawn or around the same price. Darcy can be good. I think he's just one to watch, but I think he's got a huge scoring potential, and that's why we have him at 4th, and he was the 4th highest scoring ruckman last year in a bad year.
Yeah. So, I like that one. George, my number 3 is Grundles.
I got Grundy at 3 too.
There we go.
So obviously we think more ruck time for Grundy.
Yep.
And obviously if he was a sole ruckman, he'd be shooting up.
He's a midfielder in his own right anyway. You know what I mean? Like, Grundy, he does do some good hit-outs.
Yeah.
He normally does score lowest against Gawn, but he pretty much beats majority of the competition in taps. Mm-hmm. Besides that, he does about 4, 5, 6 tackles a game and contested touches and clearances himself.
Let's talk about the intra-club matches. They're just practicing against the best ruckman.
Yeah.
They're going to have great amount of experience and know-how after rucking against each other so much.
It's like you're practicing.
And Grundy's just another midfielder for Melbourne who's already got a really good midfield. So I just think Grundy's a really good pick, a safe pick. He's cheaper.
They've got the best midfield in the comp now with, the addition of Gawn Grundy as the two best 1-2 ruckman and Petrarca and Oliver clearly. In the last video, both of them, one of them's in the top 2, another one's in the top 10. And Brayshaw as well is one of the... Anyway, the thing is, Grundy, I like him for the price too. I don't think there's much downside. If he was 600,000, maybe think twice.
I would think 400 times.
Yeah, but with Grundles at that price...
I still think he's capable of averaging. I think maybe a 95 is...
but that's what he's priced at too.
Yeah, so he's priced at a 95?
Yeah. Literally, his price is
isn't he priced at a 90?
No, he's actually less than that. Sorry, yeah. So let me just get him up. Bill Grundy, he's priced at.
You won't be because he played less than 6 games, so he got the discount. So,
but we all know that when someone's
he's priced at
averaging 90.
He's priced at about 92, something like that. But yeah, I think still Grundy can get 95 to 100. I wouldn't be surprised if 105 per game. Melbourne's just going to have so many sharing of that pill. I really like him. That brings me to my top 2, English.
So that's why I thought you were fighting so hard back on English shorts. Tell me why you think he's going to do so well.
Because he's just an absolute accumulator. He's the sole ruckman. He's like a Grundy.
That plays 15 games.
That's, but I'm not saying that he's going to be playing all the games. I don't think he will. I think he will be averaging the most. He was the 3rd highest averaging ruckman last year. Okay, he's a year older. He's already averaged over 100 twice. And, I really think he's got good scoring potential. Will he play all year? I don't think so. No chance. But I still think his average and scoring potential is a top 2.
Interesting. My number two is Wits. And just for the fact that looking through what we have on board, and his number 2 last year played 22 games, probably the only ruckman in the top 8 to play 22 games out of all the rest. Mm-hmm. And you know who else played 22 games last year, Jords?
Wits.
Nank.
Oh, yeah, because Nank's first year and Wits' first year.
Yeah, so they're the only... So clearly, anyone that averaged over 95 plus... Wits was the only one that played 22 games. Everyone else was hurt, injured for whatever reason they were. But look, for me, Wits, Gold Coast best buy, sole ruckman. I don't see anyone else. If Wits goes down, I think the next ruckman is going to be 120,000.
As 100.
I'm still scrolling down. I've not seen a Gold Coast ruck yet at all. I don't think
Ben King, there you go, mate. Ben King, dual position, ruck forward.
Where is he?
No, Ben King will be as in.
Ben King in the foreline. There is not Ned Moyle. Ned Moyle.
Yeah, he's 1% owned, I think.
1% of team. So
they're backing on Wits going down.
They're backing on that 1% smart. If Wits goes down, Ned Moyle at 120,000 is gone straight into the team. But there's no one else after that.
Let's not pretend that number 1 is not Marshall, and let's not pretend that he has the high scoring potential as a number 1 ruckman in. They don't have other forwards to share time with him. I think. He's going to be used in a main role wherever it is. He's got the high scoring potential. He is the number 1, my number 1 average player. I think he's scores so well when he's the number 1, and I think we're going to see a lot of that.
Yeah.
And I think Ross Lyon's style of game, where there's a lot of ball ups, a lot of congested football, more ruck tap outs, that's just only going to benefit him even more. So the guys that have there's only in 43% of teams, I believe. So I don't really know where else these other 47, 57% of players who they're picking. Yep.
No, I agree, George. I think that just Rod Marshall is, we've seen time and time again how good he scored. I remember I got him in last year when we found out that the ruckman went down. He scored me 170 straight off the bat to win me the prelim.
And then Tom Campbell played the last game and he got a 60 or 70.
Yeah,
that's the only one thing to watch, guys. Now, we didn't put some ruckman in. I know Matty didn't have Natanui in.
No, who cares, Natanui?
And I didn't have... who did you mention? I know we both didn't put Hickey in. And any reason for that?
Because I don't think he's anywhere near the top 15. That's as simple as that. He's nowhere near it.
So there's a couple of noticeable absentees. No Hickeys, no Pruses, no Goldsteins.
Yeah, well, Goldstein should be in the 4 line. But no, Hickey, what? He averaged 103.
Hickey's only averaged over 100 once.
Yeah.
I don't think he's ever played a full season.
Yeah.
So.
No, he has not.
And with Ladham's obviously, emerging, I think, Tom Hickey's not a very good pick. I don't think Goldstein's a very good pick.
He's 33 this year.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So that's it, guys. That's our averages. Did you agree? Did you disagree? I know
we didn't even put Draper in there either, but...
I know, that's rightfully so.
Because he's going to be...
I actually saw another thing, and another pre-season kind of clip and a footage. Now, it's like Nick Bryan in the ruck, and Nick Bryan just...
Absolutely killed him.
Yeah. And they interviewed Nick Bryan, because there was an interview with Bryan, and they showed some of his highlights, and there's him beating Draper in a ruck contest.
I'm telling you, not only Draper, not only Bryan and Phillips.
Yeah, I like Bryan. I think he's a good ruckman. I don't know. I think they have to persist with Draper and to see if he can do it, but I haven't seen anything yet. So there you go. No Draper.
That's it. No Draper.
No fucking Tom De Koning. That one guy that keeps on asking me if Tom De Koning's going to be a good ruckman. It's not.
He's not yet. Not yet anyway.
Not even. He's not the best ruckman in Carlton.
He's my breakout, but let's hope he does something good.
All right, guys. If you like what you saw, please subscribe. None of you guys have bought us KFC or a coffee yet, so that's all right. On the podcast.
All right, we'll be starving again, Jules. We'll see you tomorrow. Oh, that was a clear hit out, but you're on the man. 50.
No. That's just
anyway, see you guys. Have a good one.